This week we are talking about radar systems, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology invented them, and it's sending out radio waves to bounce off of metal objects and then say where they were. And that was just absolutely instrumental in finding out when countries like in the Battle of Britain were going to be attacked. They would see the radar, and it was something that was very helpful in World War II. Finally, for geography, we have kind of a freebie week in geography because it's the same as history. And so we really wanted you to get the point that Berlin was chopped into pieces, a city was cut into pieces, and a wall was put up. And the reason that wall was put up was to keep people stuck in this communist regime, in communism. And remember, communism is when the leaders say everything's going to be fair, that people are only going to have to work to their abilities and they're going to get what they need. But the truth is that it's a dictatorship. It's where a small group of leaders rule by fear and propaganda, and they tell the people that everything is going great for everyone else, so what's wrong with you? And you think, oh, I don't think things are really going good for me at all, but I guess everything's going well for everyone else. And they basically brainwash people. So it's a horrible way to live, and it's a way that the people in the Soviet Union lived for many years until in 1991, the Soviet Union finally collapsed. But for right now, we're going to go back to World War II, and we're going to talk about Raoul Wallenberg. And the way he pronounced his name was Raoul Wallenberg with a V. But he was from Sweden. He was from a very prominent family, and he was a diplomat, which means that he went to different countries to represent Sweden. And so the country that he was assigned to was Hungary. And Hungary was a country that was taken over by the Nazis. And when the Nazis came in, the people of Hungary, who were Jewish, were told that they had to wear the yellow Star of David on them. And then eventually, within just a few months, those people knew that they were going to be rounded up and they were going to be brought to prisons, to what they called concentration camps. And so Raoul Wallenberg knew what was going on, and so he started issuing people Swiss documentation or Swedish documentation saying that they had the right to leave and that the Swedish government was going to take care of them. Well, he didn't really have permission to do this, so he did it by forging the documents. But he wound up saving over 100,000 Jewish people. 100,000 Jewish people were saved by what he did. And what he did was extremely dangerous because the Nazis would have killed him just like that if they had found out. But he would find out where Jewish people were hiding, or he would even find places for Jewish people to hide. And then he would bring them food, and he would come in the middle of the night and he would play with their children because he knew how hard it was on children. And they would bring them things like warm blankets and food, and as soon as he could get them out of the country, he would. And he wound up rescuing so many people. And so Raoul Wallenberg is one of the heroes of World War II because what he did took so much courage, and he helped those people that either people couldn't help or that because of the Nazis they wouldn't. So he's a true hero. All right, so card number 2 is the Korean War begins. And there are quite a few videos on this, but let's look at the dates. The Korean War began in 1950, and the World War II wasn't signed, the end of it wasn't signed until 1951. So as you can see, these conflicts just kept going and going and going, and they just didn't seem to end. And the basics, and I want you to watch the other videos, the basics of the Korean War was it was North Korea, which was communist, versus South Korea. And one of my favorite pictures is a picture of fairly recently, and it's a picture of Korea all lit up at night. In fact, I think it's in here. It is in here. It's a little bit later on. Korea all lit up at night in the south, and the north is all dark because where there's democracy, Christianity thrives because people are free to praise God and to know Him. and you just see innovation and just new things happening. But under communism, you usually have a very insecure leader, and he has total control because he's so worried about losing his power all of the time. And so that would be North Korea. And it's just very sad that people allow communism to go on. But in the Korean War, you had heroes like Douglas MacArthur, you had Eisenhower, and the Americans worked very hard to try to free the Korean people. So we're going to learn more about this later, but make sure you watch the videos.